park, and I apologize in advance for probably keeping him away from home a little bit more. And I also want to say thank you for allowing us to have Shawn not just in your family, but in our family. Or perhaps you enjoy the quiet time, and for that I would say, you're welcome. Also with us today are three individuals who currently sit in important chairs at DEP, a couple of which Shawn has previously filled. Chief of Staff Jane Rosenblatt is with us. Chief Counsel Shawn Moriarty, as well as Department of Environmental Protection COO Adrian Krepke, and the leadership from all three of them on critical issues like offshore wind and critical regulatory reforms have brought our policies to life. And I know they will continue to keep the department moving under Shawn's leadership. Thanks to each of the three of you and your teammates. Shawn has been at the center of nearly every issue and every decision made at the DEP over the past 3 years, not just as Chief of Staff, but in his initial role of Chief Counsel. But his knowledge and background run deep. Prior to joining our administration in 2018, Shawn had spent nearly 20 years in environmental protection, starting at the age of 19 as a community organizer, helping vulnerable New Jersey communities made sick from contaminated water to find their voice and defend their rights. After law school, he spent a decade focused on environmental law and policy in private practice at some of the country's and state's leading law firms. He has helped major infrastructure developers build environmentally sound projects. And in court, he has been on both sides of the ball, both as a prosecutor and defense attorney, and has brought that knowledge to bear throughout his time at the DEP. Shawn put himself through college at night while working full-time in the environmental field. He earned his bachelor's degree magna cum laude from Rutgers University, which I might add you transferred to after starting your higher education path at Middlesex County College, right? And you earned your law degree summa cum laude from Rutgers Law School in Camden. He has authored or co-authored numerous articles and has garnered many environmental awards and accolades throughout his career, including national recognition from the Environmental Law Institute. Raised, I have to say, as I was, in a working poor family, Shawn was the first in his family to attend college. He knows intimately that New Jersey is the place where anyone with drive and grit and determination can achieve their dreams. His story is the quintessential American story, the quintessential New Jersey story. Over the past 4 months, I have admired Shawn's tremendous leadership and commitment to the job before him. Even with the formal change in title, I know the rest of him will not change. He will continue to be a great role model, both within the department and across the state. And I also know this: Shawn recognizes that the decisions made by the DEP aren't just important for our today, but they will have impacts that cross generations to your twins and their twins beyond. The work we do today for cleaner air and water, to meaningfully combat climate change, to ensure that every community is treated with dignity and respect, and that the principles of environmental justice serve us every day, will far outlive any of us. More than anything, the work being done at the DEP today will be the environmental legacy we will leave our children and grandchildren and beyond. And there is no one better to ensure we lead with these principles than Shawn. It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce the Acting Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection in word and in deed, Shawn LaTourette. Shawn? Congrats, bud.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you all, and thank you, Governor. I'm going to pretend not to be nervous, and I just got probably the best public speaking advice ever from one of those beautiful babes down there. She said, Dad, don't worry, if you mess up, nobody will notice. So thank you, Governor, for that kind introduction, for your leadership, and for your confidence. I'm humbled by this nomination and the great responsibility of serving the people of New Jersey as Commissioner of Environmental Protection. Alongside your team, Governor, and the incredible people of the DEP these last 3 years, we have been making great strides in building a stronger, fairer, greener New Jersey. It has unquestionably been the highlight of my 20 years in the environmental field. To succeed the incomparable Catherine McCabe and serve as your next DEP commissioner is an honor beyond any I could imagine. I love this state, and I want to give back because it has given me everything. A fine public school education 4 times over, from grade and high school in Woodbridge to Middlesex County College to my beloved Rutgers, both North for undergrad and South for law school. A place where my love of the outdoors could take root, from the mountainous trails of High Point to the urban greenscapes of the Great Falls in Patterson or Branchbrook Park in Newark, to the diverse ecosystems of our pinelands to the beautiful shores of Cape May Point. A place where small businesses like the environmental law firm of Lieberman and Blecker could thrive, leaving me mentors who would spark my passion for protecting victims of toxic exposure and encourage me, a kid who came from nothing, to tempt fate and get a law degree of my own. A place where I would be free to marry the man I love long before it was the law of these United States. A place where I could raise 2 incredible, brave, smart young women who know that in New Jersey, they can be anything. I am so proud of you, Liv and Jules. A place where I could use all of these gifts to support a governor I believe in, help our great state take bold action to reduce the risks of climate change, to further the promise of environmental justice, to ensure clean water for all, and to build a green economy that lifts up all of our people. I promise to treat the office I am nominated for with the reverence it deserves. The Commissioner of Environmental Protection is not just the head of a government agency or an advisor to the governor, important roles to be sure. But in New Jersey, the Commissioner of Environmental Protection has a sacred duty to the people to hold every natural resource of this state in trust for them. Our air, our land, our water, our wildlife, they don't belong to the governor or to me or to the dedicated folks of the DEP who work so hard every day to protect them. These natural resources belong to the people, all of the people. And you have my word that I will take good care of them for you. I will always be honest, even when it's hard, and especially when it's hard. Our state has many environmental challenges. New Jersey is ground zero for the worst impacts of climate change. Our aging water infrastructure presents both public health and economic risks. And many low-income communities continue to bear a disproportionate burden of the pollution that we all together create. But as I stand here today, in view of the progress of these last 3 years, I am filled with hope. Because New Jerseyans are strong, and our great state is leading the way for our nation on so many important environmental issues. We are leading the way in reducing and responding to climate change. With the governor's vision, we have charted a course to reduce emissions of climate pollutants and help our communities become stronger and more resilient to the impacts of climate change. I am eager to build upon this progress, and I could have no better partner in that work than Jane Cohen, the newly appointed Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Climate Action and the Green Economy, whose thoughtful approach to complex policy is matched only by her kindness and resolve. Thank you, Jane. I hope you know that you have a ready and able team at DEP, and we are excited to support you in the work ahead. New Jersey is leading the way in developing renewable energy, resources that will help us solve climate change, while creating a homegrown industry that will power the future and lift up our people. I'm confident, for example, that we can maximize the opportunity of offshore wind while protecting our valuable coastal and aquatic resources, and by extension, the fishing communities and businesses that those resources support. As we work to ensure responsible offshore wind and project development throughout the state, I am grateful to have the leadership of my incredible Chief of Staff, Jane Rosenblatt, whose ability to bring people together, find solutions, and drive progress is unmatched. This administration and this state is lucky to have you. New Jersey is also leading the way in building the environmental policies of the future. From our New Jersey Pact, or Protecting Against Climate Threats reforms, to the new program we're building to better protect residents from the risk of lead in drinking water, to the next generation of waste management and recycling programs, New Jersey is leading. But we could not bring any of those pro-growth progressive policies to life without the imagination and tenacity of legal minds like Shawn Moriarty, my chief counsel and the often unsung hero of our environmental progress. Thank you, brother. And there is no question that New Jersey, a state known for its enduring commitment to equity and justice, is leading our state and our country toward a place of greater environmental justice. DEP is now working to build the program that will implement the most empowering environmental justice law in the country, signed by the governor in September. Meanwhile, DEP is working with all of our sister agencies to sow the principles of environmental justice into the work of every executive branch department. An effort led by my new partner in all things positive, Olivia Glenn, DEP's first ever Deputy Commissioner for Environmental Justice and Equity. I could not ask for a better team. The few people I mentioned, though, only scratched the surface of the more than 3,000 environmental professionals at DEP who have made the protection of our natural resources the cause of their lives. We are in your debt, and it is my honor to lead with you. Together, we are charting a new course for the future, with a stronger, more just environment at its center. It is a future where we refuse to make false choices between a healthy environment and a healthy economy. It is a future of partnership where there is no one industrial villain who seeks to pollute and plunder, no one single conservationist with a monopoly on virtue. Because just like the water we drink and the air we breathe, we are all interconnected. Because the environmental challenges of one community are a challenge to our entire New Jersey community. And we only do this together. In closing, I again thank our governor for his confidence, and knowing that I could never name them all to every mentor and professor and colleague and advocate, I would not be here today were it not for the lessons we have learned together, and I carry them with me every day. And lastly, but certainly not least, to Michael. My partner, my love, I only hope that I can take as good care of our environment as you do our family. I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Now, let's get to work.
Congratulations, man. Let's go up front and take one more team shot.